I'm Professor Wasil Adhering, the Chief Medical Director of Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Lagos, Nigeria. And to my left is the Head of Finance and Account of the hospital, Mr. Oyekule. The remittance of internal generated revenue was stated by the Senate, by the Committee on Senate. The explanation by us is, I don't know whether we have the same, I think it's the same. The Auditor General of the Federation.
Sorry, yes. CMD, let me first correct you. Was and is still not expressed by the Senate Committee. It is expressed by the Auditor General of the Federation.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you are here to prove the Auditor General's office otherwise.
Okay. Okay. So to allow the Head of Finance to talk, I will also support him in it.
Yes, sir. Before I made the submission, sir, let me just make a certain correction. There was a typographical error in the report of the Auditor General, because the 35%, 35,474,325, the 25% of that is not 30 million. The 25% of it is 8,868,000. So what the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation did was to remove the 5 million that we have paid from the total internally generated fund of 35 million to result at 30 million. But the actual figure payable during that period was 8,868,581.25, of which we have made payment of 5,067,436, leaving a balance of 3,801,114.29.
As you stated now,
yes, sir.
That was the position of the audit team.
Yes, sir.
That came to your agency.
Yes, sir.
When the issue got to the office, yes, we reviewed it and we wrote a new report accordingly. I saw the management report, the initial inspection report. As agencies, as they fail to do the needful, also the Office of the Auditor General has to apply the sanction. Your agency is funded by the federal government.
Yes, sir.
The federal government pays your personnel,
yes, sir,
your capital,
yes, sir,
and every other thing.
Yes, sir.
So all revenue generated by your agency is supposed to go straight to the consolidated revenue fund. That is the position of the Auditor General on this issue. You are funded by the federal government, your capital, your recurrent, yes, sir, funded by the government.
Yes, sir.
If you have a different position, you can present it. Once you are funded by the federal government, yes, federal government pays your personnel,
yes, sir,
your running cost, yes, sir, your capital.
Yes, sir.
So any amount so generated by your agency should go to consolidated revenue fund.
I didn't dispute that, sir. What I'm explaining, with the 25% of 35 million will be 30 million. That's what I'm saying now.
There's
no way. The 25% of 35 million can never be 30 million. What I'm saying is the 20.
What is it? You are just saying 25%. There's no 25% inside this report.
The report I have with me, sir, from the Office of the...
I've just read the report of the Auditor General,
yes,
as presented to National Assembly to you.
Let me look at it.
Yes, sir.
We are still on the remittance. First and foremost, what law are you using to back your claim that it shouldn't be 35 million? What law are you using?
The reference to...
No, just what law are you using? The Auditor General has brought about the constitutional law as to the provision that allows you to key in all your Adhering into the consolidated revenue fund.
Yes.
If you have any law,
Yes, sir.
aside from that,
Yes, sir.
you now tell us. Secondly, I'm coming. Secondly, you made mention of, yes, the 25% of what you have said is 8 million,
Yes, sir.
which you have rightly admitted.
Yes,
But even at that, you have outrightly told us you didn't remit the 8 million. You remitted 5. That means even on that ground,
Yes, sir.
there is still an under-remittance.
Okay, sir. Sir, let me add, but the time difference. As at the time they came, we have not fully remitted it, but we have fully remitted it, and the attachment, evidence remittance, has been attached.
There are records for that?
Yes, sir. Here. So, but with regards to the first question, sir, permit me to read the abstract of Auditor General Office on issue 2, non-remittance of 25% IGR to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. He said, areas of coverage and summary of work done by the auditor. The revenue record of the hospital was checked to ascertain the internally generated fund in order to know the 25% portion of government to be remitted to the Consolidated Revenue Fund in line with the provision of the circular number. I'm quoting the reference of auditor. Circular number BO.
Just your wife? Listen to what you
Yes, I'm with him.
Yes, sir. With the provision of the circular number BO/RVE/12235/V11/201 dated 11 November 2011, which states that all federal agencies and parastatals should limit their annual budgetary expenditure from internally generated fund to not more than 75% of the gross revenue, while the remaining 25% are to be remitted to the coffers of the federal government through Consolidated Revenue Fund. Furthermore, the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, which required the head of agencies to ensure prompt remittance of this 25% operating surplus into Consolidated Revenue Fund. So it was on the basis of this that we remitted the 25%.
Let me quickly refer to a circular dated 11th November 2011.
Yes, sir.
And in the Auditor General's report, Auditor General referred to another circular dated 7th August 2015.
Sir, I am reading Auditor General's report, sir. The first
You are not reading, you didn't read Auditor General's report. This is the authentic report which I just read to you. Any other thing should be secondary. This is the Auditor General's report as presented to National Assembly, and I've just read it to you. That you refer to a circular dated 2011. In the Auditor General's report, we refer to a circular dated 7th August 2015. And it is very clear, and this issue was taken up by the Finance Committee of the National Assembly. There was more or less a public hearing on this issue, that in as much as the federal government funds your capital, recurrent expenditure, your overhead and everything, you have that obligation to send back all your revenue back to Consolidated Revenue Fund. That is the position of audit on that. If you have any other probably references circular to that effect, you can present it.
Thank you very much, sir. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, that's it.
So all hospitals,
That's one of the issues.
yes, one of the issues. All hospitals in Nigeria, prior to some few months ago, and I'm sure it is in the public domain, that is increased from 25 to 40%. That we are also for universities and other teaching hospitals. But in the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, what we have been remitting, and based on the circular, all of us in teaching hospital is 25%. And now that there was an attempt to even raise it 40%, you can see that we are making representation all over the hospitals. And I guess that one of the reasons why it's allowed is that if we do that, our hospitals are going to collapse. There's no way we are going to survive. It is practically impossible. Let me give you an example, sir. at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, we are giving the overhead of 21 million per month in 2023. On electricity alone, I pay 100 million naira per month. Absolutely, 100, not apart from several other things. Cleaning. So it is from that policy they are actually really surviving, and we have a circular to back that, to the extent that 25%. Once there's a policy that want to increase it to 40%, and I'm sure that the Senate is aware that the universities, they've gone to meet the president. We are also making all effort to make sure that for our hospital to survive, if we are giving overhead 100%, we will remit everything. But if I'm giving 21 million naira a month for all overhead, light, water, training, whatever, and I pay 100 million naira on electricity at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, there is just no way the patients are going to suffer. Everybody is going to. So, in the last 4 or 5 years, it's 25%, and we're also appealing that the hospitals too should be considered like the university. We are really, really seriously suffering. Thank you very much, sir. Two, the revolving and non-revolving. The revolving are those that, like a drug revolving fund and several other revolving funds. The non-revolving, which we actually take the 25% from, so it will give us the list of those non-revolving. Thank you.
Yes, school fees from the... Thank you, sir. Like school fees from student nursing schools, from pre-operative schools and other schools, like hostel fee, like accommodation fee, like a tender fee, all those ones are the non-revolving that are expected to be remitted to the federal government.
But the remittance, which is 25% of 35 million, cannot be 30 million. That's what it has said. We are allowed to remit 25%.
You are going back to that.
We cannot act on information that is not within the purview of our knowledge. The information in purview of our knowledge is the letter written by the Auditor General to us. The one that the representative of Auditor General is talking about, we don't have that information. The information, the letter generated from the office of Auditor General is this one, and dated 2020, 24 December 2020. That is the query given to us. So this one you are saying now is not within the purview of our knowledge. So there's no way we can respond to it accurately. Perhaps if you had access to that letter or information, we would have responded differently. But this is the one we have, sir.
The issue here, I'm not a technical. Do you have any official justification for the retention or remittance of only 25%? My question
yes, right from just we have been remitting 25%.
No, you can be wrongly remitting 25%.
Everybody in Nigeria, sir. All the teaching hospitals.
Don't say 25% wouldn't have brought me to the Senate. 25% of the votes that my constituent cast wouldn't have brought me. I just asked a very simple question. Do you have official written justification for remitting only 25%?
Yes,
yes,
sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
So where is it?
Yes, sir. From the Auditor General and the Accountant General respectively, each time they come, they computed 25% and we made the payment. If we have not made it in full.
You have a copy of the circular?
I don't have here, but I have the copy of both the computation by the Accountant General and the Auditor General.
I didn't ask for computation. The circular
yes, sir.
and still gives you
Yes, sir.
the impetus or the grounds to remit only 25%.
It's not with me here, sir.
Oh, you have it? It's somewhere.
I should have it, sir.
How fast can we have it? Because that's the only way that
Sir, can I also add to that? I agree with this reference.
Okay.
Sir, to add to it, I also made a reference to the fact that that 25% is about to be increased or has been increased to 40%. And the circular it also made so much noise in social media that the Vice Chancellor had to make a representation to the President. 25%, we have the circular, I may not be here. Then, to show that we have been doing 25% over the years, now want to be increased to 40%. Is now there's no doubt about the fact that what we've been doing the last 4 or 5 years is backed by. And when they come from the Accountant General also, that is what they ask for, 25%. That's what we've been doing. Thank you, sir.
So, Auditor General?
Both of them, sir.
But Accountant General only takes your financial statements.
That's why I said both.
No, we have revenue, of course.
Okay. And so are you misguiding us, Auditor General?
No. If he has a superior argument, I did something. Before this report, you were still relying on 2011 circular, and I referred you to 2015 circular on the same subject matter.
Can I respond to that, sir?
Yes.
And is in the public glare. 40%. If you are remitting on them, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Mike.
Lack of actually looking at the law and of course obeying the law. Just yesterday, the National Assembly, the Senate, had a session with the Revenue Collecting Agency. The chairman of Federal Revenue is right out there. And I believe you me, most agencies collect their money based on their perception of the law, based on their understanding of the law, based on some circulars that was written by either Accountant General, Auditor General, or as the case may be. But the ground norm, of course you know, is the Constitution. And what does the Constitution say? Every other things, every collection should be to consolidated revenue, except in a manner prescribed by the National Assembly. I mean, there has to be a law passed by the National Assembly before it becomes a law. You just mentioned 40% now. The Federal Revenue Board is there. I'm not aware whether he's even aware of that 40. Who is bringing all those matters? What we are trying to do as a nation is trying to streamline. You have made a very logical presentation about the inability of the hospital to run on this just a mere percentage of the revenue. That is logical, that is understandable, and that is achievable. But we cannot run away from the law. Whatever the law prescribes is what it is, good or bad. So I want you to admit that these things that you have done was on quote-unquote assumptions of 25%. But the reality of the ground is, can you prescribe, can you present the circular before us? It is going to be very difficult. Just like every other agency that came before the appropriation committee yesterday had ideas about how their agencies run. Some actually took 50% and assumed that is what is being prescribed by the law. So what we're trying to do now is to streamline these things, agree on it. At the end of the day, the entire is to make corrections. And what is the mission? Making sure that things work better for all of us. That's just the idea. We can spend the whole day today, 25%, 40%, but you come back and I wish maybe when we are done with you, when we are taking the Federal Revenue Board, is there, I've seen him. Some of these things will be clearly clarified, clearly spelled out as to the norm.
Thank you very much.
So of our 2 or 3 senators came in, and Chair.
Thank you, the distinguished chairman.
0.9% of those at the helm of affairs of MDAs keep distance to us or from us, politicians and of course members of the National Assembly. You only appear on occasions like this. And that's when most of us get to know your problems. But if you keep closer relationship, you are going to help the system better. Because before a day like this, we would have known the practical lacunas you have in some of the products of the National Assembly, some of the laws we make, and even the Constitution. Provisions of laws are supposed to be practicably enforceable. No matter how sweet the literature is, if they become impossible to practicalize, then the provisions become obnoxious. But we will not know. Only when you are called or summoned, invited, or you come for budget defense, that's all. And the moment you are done with any of the exercises that would have brought you to the National Assembly, you go forever. And that's why we experience situations like this. Bottom line is, regardless of the provisions of the circulars you rely on, like Senator Abdul Ningi said, Senator Abdul Ningi is a veteran. From 1999 to date, he only went on sabbatical for how many years? 4 years. And he was deputy chairman of this committee in the 7th Senate. So, any which way you look at it, there is or there was under-remittance. And the reasons for the non-remittance or the under-remittance is not really, it is tenable, but not convincible and acceptable. So, Auditor General, I think on issue 1, you need to harmonize between you and the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, and you should make sure anytime you are in Lagos, you don't fall sick, because they may not give you the needed attention. So I think we are done with issue 1. The Office of the Auditor General and the management of Lagos University Teaching Hospital should meet to harmonize on that subject.
Report.
069, we are on Lagos Teaching Hospital.
Yes.
I just come in.
Non-deduction of value-added tax amounting to 1,491,637 naira 72 kobo. Paragraph 234, subsection 1 of the Financial Regulations states, and I quote, "It is mandatory for accounting officers to ensure full compliance with the dual roles of making provisions for VAT and withholding tax on supplies and services contracts and actual remittance of same." End of quote. Audit observed that the sum of 1,491,637 naira 72 kobo for value-added tax was not deducted from payments to contractors in respect of contracts for supplies as shown below. Contracts under Capital Development Fund, that's 144,000. Contracts under overhead, 1.2 million, total 1.4 million naira. The above anomalies could be attributed to weakness in the internal control system at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital. Risk, loss of government revenue. 2, difficulty in funding budget. Management response. We have crossed your observation and confirmed that 5% VAT was deducted from the transaction the sum of 244,046 naira 10 kobo calculated as deductible VAT from the payment of 5,125,000 naira by your office on Capital Development Fund has been paid by LUT as part of 4,750,000 naira VAT and withholding tax deducted and paid to Federal Inland Revenue Service on behalf of West African Infrastructure Nigerian Limited. However, the sum of 5,125,000 naira was final payment on a bill of 49,875,000 naira, from which 4,750,000 naira was paid as withholding and VAT to FRS. However, your observed outstanding VAT of 1,247,591 naira 62 kobo on overhead shall be remitted to FIRS. Recommendations. The Chief Medical Director is requested to 1. Provide reasons why VAT was not deducted from payment to contractors. 2. Recover and remit 1,491,637 naira 72 kobo to appropriate tax authority. 3. Forward evidence of remittance to the Public Accounts Committees of the National Assembly. Otherwise, apply sanctions relating to failure to collect and account for government revenue and demotion in rank prescribed by paragraph 3112 and 3117 of the financial regulations, respectively. That is the second issue, sir.
Members of the committee. So, kindly allow the head of finance to respond to some of the technical issues. Thank you, sir.
If you have remitted the 1.2 million, we don't have to take
overhead the subject matter. There are zero written VAT. It was only that 244,000 that was qualified for VAT, and we have paid it together when we made the payment of 4.7 million. What happened in the case of 244 was that there was paucity of funds that we were unable to make the payment of 45 million straight to the contractor. So we made the payment of 40 million. So there was a balance of 5.1 million. So that 4.1 million, the VAT had been charged together when it was 49.8 million. So that 5.1 million application of VAT was still applied to it, but we have made payment and we have the evidence of that payment. But in the case of that 1.2 million, the items involved, they are medical consumables, they are medical items, they are consumables, and they are not qualified for VAT. They are zero rated VAT under the VAT law. My page may not be the same with your page, sir. My page is page 4 here and page 5, because I'm at a loss with the pages you are mentioning.